Yeah, it's just the way the lights hit. It's the
It was all put to, so they can't. We didn't sue it.
Have you seen it?
And neither did the Romans.
Was there a date like that? There's no way from there.
There are a couple of them up there.
Did you see the deer, the baby deer?
Oh, gosh.
Because it's family, countless Jews in there.
Head on.
Just looked at it. And they.
You don't think that I could gain more weight than I
Get them in
do?
your house, around your house.
Yeah.
They're there, I haven't seen them, but I know they're there, because they eat the shrubbery. When we moved in,
Strange.
the garden wasn't finished, there were a lot more deer. One
It is a shame.
sheriff had to come and shoot it, it fell into a dugout with a basement. They stole them back up and injured itself.
Okay.
So.
That happened to me when I was 3. I fell into the foundation of a house. But they didn't. No, they didn't.
That's a good.
Except that-
Yeah, it was across the street. My brother was supposed to be watching me. He was 5. You did back in those days. No, it was Hancock.
What happened?
Well, actually, they were so Clarendon Hills. Are you from the area?
Well, and the trees.
Oh,
So Clarendon Hills is like. Everybody knows Oak Brook.
There you go. So, okay. But I finally feel.
Last time.
She was looking for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping this doesn't.
Nobody, no.
However.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know, I feel like it's.
Well, yeah.
And so they went to the adventure,
And they didn't want you to read the Bible.
and we were to Rochester, and we got to take option.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to question.
Commercial vehicles got eaten up by Macy's. Yeah.
But it gave my parents a hard time. Not believing. Because they were more religious. My mom especially.
And
Yeah.
And,
was a
I think I
different
did
time.
drink less coffee.
Get our washing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was a bad kid. I refused to play with Santa Claus because I calculated
24 ounces.
how long it would take to stop to eat.
No, well, it's not.
And I go, Dad,
I was thinking of the first time.
this is 3 minutes. Years.
That was the other fancy.
Yes.
Downtown.
Besides that, I found
The ladies'
this
room
was
at Carson's, it's like so gorgeous, with chandeliers and all, it's like, we made a point of going there just. It was,
I
I don't know what the
I
minute.
know. I started walking around with my water bottle, I almost brought it. Yeah,
It was
I
cold.
told them some too.
Yeah, they were cold. Yeah.
On the other side of the river.
And overeating.
Watch the Sears Tower go up.
I just drank a.
Yeah, my dad worked in the Sears Tower on the 70th floor, and he said it, you know, he would come home and do this because they would.
Yes, yes,
Shake him.
yes.
Because
It's because the,
And this is.
John Hancock was also in Chicago, was that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the world's tallest building if you count the antenna, and then.
Did you see Jennifer entering the waiting room?
The Hancock building had residences on the top floors, it wasn't all commercial.
Right.
And apparently there were like whitewater waves in the toilets because the whole building.
All right. Let's see. Zoom people, just, can you hear us? Can you hear Zoom people? Are you hearing us?
Yes.
Just want to make sure. Welcome to ROSH-ESTHER number, I don't know how much. Okay, so we shall start. Apologize, no guitar today for some technical reasons. So we'll just skip that part. So we have, well, we can sing without a guitar too, right? You don't mind that, right? Let's
We'll
do
find
that.
out, I guess.
Who said that we can't sing without yeah, let's do that. I'm not confined by my guitar. I can sing. I'm a free person to sing wherever I want to sing. Here we go. Where is that song there? We were singing that song. Can do that. Just share the screen. No, oops. So confusing. Okay. Singing without guitar. Let's see if it's even humanly possible. Ben Adam, ale lemala ale ben Adam, ale lemala ben Adam, ale lemala ben Adam, ale lemala כי כוח חד לך, יש לך כנפי רוח, יש לך כנפי רוח, כנפי נשר סבירים, אל תכחש בם, I'll get it right away, don't worry, פן יכחשו בך. דרוש אותם, דרוש בן אדם, וימצאו לך מיד. בן אדם, עלה למעלה, עלה למעלה, בן אדם, עלה למעלה, בן אדם, עלה למעלה, עלה למעלה, בן אדם, עלה למעלה, כי כוח חד לך, יש לך כנפי רוח, יש לך כנפי רוח, כנפי נשרים אווירים, אל תכחש בם, פן יכחשו לך, דרוש אותם, דרוש בן אדם, וימצאו לך מיד. There is some kind of a phone here that's talking. It's very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah. So I'm glad to have you back. I've been away for a few weeks in Israel, in fact. Very interesting trip. I'll just say it. I'll just say that it was a very personal trip, very personal visit. So I got to see a lot of the people that I love and spend some time in Israel. That's very beautiful in the spring. And I found a nation that is, for the most part, struggling to go back to life. And there's a lot of vitality. A lot of, I mean, we were in Tel Aviv one day on a long date, and Tel Aviv is a booming town now with culture and art and young people, and everybody's out in the street, and it's just amazing. And so many other places in Israel as well that we visited. It looks like the nation is trying to move on. The war is still there. Not all the hostages have been released. The situation in Gaza is terrible. Politics in the Middle East are complicated. Yet something about the nature of the people is that life goes on, you know, and it was very moving to see, and actually very inspirational. So not to take any of that, and it was very non-political. I mean, I wasn't in any of the forefront of any kind of like political or security or whatever. It was just to see friends and people that I know and love, and family, mostly family, including my own children, parents, grandparents, sisters who live there. But all in all, and since today's Israeli Independence Day, actually, I'd like to say that I was very moved and somewhat optimistic about that place and all the people that I love there and everybody. Another thing, not as positive about Israel is that today in Israel's Independence Day, there's a terrible fire. That is actually maybe the worst it has been ever in Israel. We're not sure how it started, but many communities, including my own parents' community, where my son actually lives right now, have been evacuated. So my family in Israel now is evacuated. They evacuate to our relatives' house in Jerusalem, and we're praying for the fire. It's like the Los Angeles situation, fire out of control, similar weather really, and kind of like So other countries are sending airplanes to help, but like Spain and Italy and Greece, but it takes a while for them to arrive. And I just pray that that this fire gets under control soon. All right. Okay. So can we do a little bit of meditation? I see everybody's already trained. When you say meditation, everybody puts their feet on the ground and straightened up, and it's great to see that we can do that. So I'm glad and fortunate and honored that we have the time to do that together. Maybe we can use this slide to help us focus today a little bit. Let me see if I can share the screen again in this very confusing Zoom situation that we have here, but still it works somehow. So it's bigger. So maybe also as to remind ourselves of what we've learned, that these three names are representing three different aspects of our existence. Adonai representing our physical world, our physical bodies and the physical reality in which we live. Yud Hey Vav Hey symbolizing, in this context, or other contexts which we'll learn about next year maybe, in this context, our internal, spiritual, mental, whatever world that is not physical. And Eheyeh representing our ability to remember that our soul is of the divine. So it's like Matryoshka, 1, 2, 3, physical, spiritual, and what's above and transcendent, or inside of us. So let us now sit in a conscious way, meaning that we are just aware of how our body is situated in the space that it's taking. If it helps us to tune in, we're invited to close our eyes. Noticing our feet touching the ground. Our bodies resting, leaning on the chair. Feeling our weight being drawn down to Mother Earth. Yet our bodies sit still, and we remember that there's a heaven above us, a whole universe above us. And now for a little bit, let's just connect to our breath as we inhale and exhale. Every inhale, we can enjoy the oxygen that comes into our lungs from the earth, from the air around us. And every exhale, we can release our bodies a little bit. Exactly. Release anything that is point of tension. Similarly, any tension that we experience today, we can just let go of unnecessary residue with every exhale. And every breath becomes a little deeper. In the realm of Adonai, being very connected, very aware of our body. Observing any discomfort. Maybe there's somewhere that's itchy or a tense muscle. Or an organ that is in pain. Maybe we feel great in our body. Just be with our body, conscious in every breath. Being filled with air. And similarly, going to the realm of Yud-He Vav-He, scanning all the non-physical phenomena that are us in this very moment. Just give space to any emotion that we feel. Whether it's a pleasant one or an unpleasant one. Similarly, observing our thoughts, a stream of thoughts. There's always something going on, some concept that our mind is busy with. As we breathe, we can notice it. These thoughts are not us, they're just thoughts. They come and go. What else is present? Is it a will? Is it a desire? Whatever is present in this moment, just give it space and observe it. And with every exhale, we can release something. And with every inhale, we can become aware of the infinite spaces that we have within us for all this phenomena. And every breath is a little deeper than the one before it. And then in the realm of Eheyeh, let us observe the observer. turn and tune our consciousness inwards as much as possible to its own source as we breathe. Who is the one that experienced all of this phenomena? Who is the one that has will and thoughts and emotions and feelings and sensations and a body to carry? Let's tune inwards. To the source, to the well, to the point of origin of our being. That erupts and flows every moment of life. Adding to this observation a sense of gratitude, of hodaya, appreciation for this miracle of being alive, of being here. For living through another day. With all the goodness and even the challenges that life brings us in order to enjoy and also grow and evolve. And we're invited now to say the Shema together. A deep breath and say together, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And now I invite us to say the blessing for studying Torah together. May this Torah study be for the well-being and the good life of and healing of each and every one of us, our loved ones, whoever it is in the world that is in need of all of those. Let's say the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We can slowly come back to the group, open our eyes, and let's see. So what I thought we'll do in these 3 sessions we have left is simply read our Zohar text, because I think after we studied a little bit of the names of God, it'd be interesting to observe how it echoes in actually the text that oh, okay, no problem. That's fine. I knew that there must be a reason why you're moving from one place to another.
Sorry.
So basically to keep reading the Zoharic text that we were reading before, I'll go backwards a little bit to make sure that you remember, because it's interesting to see how this knowledge has been transmitted, and also the multi-layeredness of the Zohar text can teach us a lot. And from what I saw in the previous class when we were reading it, I saw that there was some interest here, so I thought maybe we could just keep reading this a little bit. Remember, it came out of our class of Elohim, and the different parts of this name of God. And so we'll go to that text and read it together. We'll repeat what we've studied and hopefully continue reading together. Now, Zoom people, are you able to see the shared page? Question to the Zoom people. Are you able to see the shared page? They went to have dinner. Stacy?
No, I couldn't see it.
Okay, and now if I share this, can you see it now? Can you see something that you shared?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nope, I don't like it. I don't like how this looks. I like this. Okay, so this will ring a bell because we've studied this already, but I want to start from the beginning and then move forward. So Rabbi Elazar is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's son, and he is also one of his close students. How many of you have heard of the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the cave? So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, we're not going to tell the story now, it's in the Talmud. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai went and stayed in a cave for 12 years. And he brought his son Elazar with him, according to one version of the story. And that's when apparently in that cave, he kind of withdrew from the world, but then God told him after 12 years, enough. Judaism doesn't like people who withdraw from the world. You had your fun, you had your mystical experience, you became very spiritually advanced. Time to go back to life. It wasn't easy for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It took another year to convince him. And then he stayed 13 years. But then in the end, he came back to life and rejoined society, because God doesn't want us to stay in a cave. According to this legend, God, he, she, whatever, they want us to be in the world and bring our spirituality to a place that is integrated in society and in everyday life. Yes.
Is part of that when they came out of the cave, their eyes burned all before them?
Yeah. So they couldn't, in other words, they couldn't stand society. Like everybody, they came out of the cave and they saw people like working and efforting and like making a living, and they couldn't stand it. Like everybody wasn't as highly spiritual. Then their gaze burnt those people, whether it was actually so or just that they couldn't stand it. It's a metaphor for like if you come from a very spiritual place and you see, us normal people just going about our business with our little agonies and miseries and things that we try to do in the world, and it's just like, what are you doing? I was in the cave for 12 years, connected to God. What are you harboring over, right? But then God basically told Rabbi Shimon, listen, you got to stop this. You're going to destroy my world. You're going to burn everyone alive. That gaze, that spiritual oh, better than thou situation is not desirable. So this kind of became a story of teaching us that too much enlightenment is not something that we want in Judaism. Or in other words, too much enlightenment is desirable, but it's not the enlightenment that's supposed to disconnect us from life, from society, from our obligation, from our, okay? It's supposed to, like, spirituality within the world. That is it's a very Jewish understanding, I think. All right, so now this whole text that we're studying in the Zohar is a conversation between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon. And Rabbi Elazar starts. He says, so he's the son, okay, and the student, and he talks to his father and teacher. In interpreting Bereshit in the beginning, maybe you remember this, he quotes a verse from Isaiah, saying, lift your eyes on high and see. Who created this? Isaiah looks at the stars. Have you ever looked at the stars? All right, Isaiah looks at the stars and says, who created these wonderful galaxies, the zodiac? Remember we studied this. Lift your eyes on high, to which sight? The sight to which all eyes gaze. Which is that? Opening of the eyes. And then Eric did the motions and explained to us that the Zohar has a different understanding of which heavens it is that Isaiah was looking at. Of course, in the literal sense, Prophet Isaiah was looking at the stars in the heavens that are physical. Okay, but the Kabbalists are interested in the inner realms. And they said, when you lift up your eyes, you actually look inside and look into the back of your soul and your mind and your psyche. That is where we want to look into. Okay, so there's two ways to look. Right? You can either have a telescope that looks all the way to the other side, to the stars, or you can look inwards to the infinite spaces and places of our inner world. The Kabbalists are interested in looking inwards in this case. There you will discover that the concealed ancient one, susceptible of questioning, created at ease. Who is that? Who? Remember, and in Hebrew it's me. Remember? This is just a repetition. The components of Elohim, Ele and me. Ele means these, and Yud Mem means me. So this is that question that the Kabbalah said, if you look deep inside, you will find a place that is only a question. You cannot find any concepts there. You can't find any answers. You can only answer a question. Who? Who am I? Who is in there? Right? Me. In English, it's me, but in Hebrew, it's me. The question word, who? The one called end of heaven above, whose domain extends over everything. Since it can be questioned, yet remains concealed and unrevealed, it is called who? Beyond, there is no question. I would say there is even no question. Right? If you go to the deepest of the deep of the deep of the source of one's soul, there's not even a question. It's complete silence. It's complete unknown. The first thing that comes up is a question. Who? Who? Said the Zohar, said Rabbi Elazar. Maybe it's something that Rabbi Elazar noticed when he was meditating a lot. Right, and he got to those internal places where there's no words, no concepts. All right, he says, what I find there is that fundamental question, me. Who? Who? And a question with no answer, just a question. Deeper than that, there's not even a question. Complete silence. This end of heaven is called who? And heaven for him and for the Kabbalists is the inner world of the soul. Earth, heaven and earth in Kabbalah, in Kabbalistic symbolism, earth is the material world, our bodies. This is earth. Heaven is our psyche. Right? So the end of heaven above is called who? There's another below called what? What distinguishes the two? The first concealed one called who can be questioned. Once a human being questions and searches, contemplating and knowing, rung after rung to the very last rung, once one reaches there, what? What do you know? What have you contemplated? For what have you searched? All is concealed as before. Remember this? So there are two questions. Who, me, and what? Ma. Me the ma in Hebrew. Me, who is the end of heaven above, that is the most inner, higher place of our soul, where above that there's only God, only the unknown, only the source. Symbolize of that question, who? Me. And then at the end of heaven above, that is the connection between our inner world and this material world. Okay, where the psyche ends and the spirit ends and material world begins, body begins, physical sensation begins. That is symbolized by the question word what, ma, maybe because it's connected to the material world. What, not who, but what. And for the Rabbi Elazar is kind of drawing a map, a diagram to us of what is it of a human being. A human being is basically a creature that is between two questions. Go inside your soul, ask who, meet God. Go outside of your psyche into the world, meet the world. And the human being is like a connector between these two questions. That's what we are, according to Rabbi Elazar. Now, what is the kind of like ironic, tragic comic comment about that Rabbi Elazar is portraying here in the paragraph? Once a human being questions and searches, contemplating and knowing rung after rung to the very last rung, we want to be spiritually advanced and evolved, right? We want to reach enlightenment. We want to go to the cave for 12 years. Once you reach there, what? Ma, what do you know? What have you contemplated? For what have you searched? All is concealed as before. See the motion? You go up, and it brings you back to where? Very moment to this area, to this. What do you make of, before we continue, we studied it towards the end of our last session, which was almost a month ago. What do you make of this comment of Rabbi Elazar? What kind of emotion is connected to it? What kind of teaching is this? What is it, a positive one? Is it a negative one? Is it?
Well, it could either be frustration because you worked so hard and you got nothing, or it could be exciting because there's always something new. There's always something more. You never get to the end.
Right, I agree that it can be read as a bit of either one or maybe a little bit of both, right?
And yet it says all is concealed, meaning there's nothing to reveal.
Right, so in some ways it's a little bit like the futility of this whole spiritual, and like as if there's something to know or something to realize. Yeah,
That takes a kind of trust though, right?
what do you mean?
Not sure, but trust in the me and the ma. Who,
Trust in order to what? To how do it's interesting.
yeah, I don't know, but to reach that point,
Mhm.
you know, you like, just trust that this is where you're supposed to be, as opposed to it will
Hmm.
disappoint.
So being in this very moment
Yeah.
needs trust. Interesting, very interesting. What did you want to add to that?
I think it takes humility
Mm.
because it involves sort of an acceptance or that it, that there's value in where you are and you don't and that you don't need to expect to understand everything.
Mm.
And I think and to be okay with that.
Right.
It involves humility
And trust.
and trust.
Yeah.
I like the concept of heaven being what's inside of us. That's like heaven on earth, I guess. We have a place where we can go and be at peace.
Like who's a singer who sang, heaven is a place on earth? Is Madonna? Madonna, she's very, she's very Kabbalistic too, right?
So according to the Zohar, to the rabbi here, who is on first and what is home?
Oh.
What's that?
I'll take him out.
I didn't follow that one, maybe it's better that I didn't. So,
Ancient comedy skit.
oh, okay. So, okay, so continuing from there, I think everything you said is true and relevant here, not that there's one right question. That circle, it reminds me of the Zen story of you know, the Zen student who dreamed that he was a butterfly. And he didn't know if he was a Zen student who dreaming that he's a butterfly, or if he's a butterfly that's dreaming that he's a Zen student. So he came to his Zen master and said, "Master, I don't know if I'm a Zen student who dreams that I'm a butterfly, or if I'm a butterfly that is dreaming that I'm a Zen student." So the Zen master takes a bucket of ice water and throws it on the student. The student's like, "Whoa!" and it says, "Now you know." Right? So in other words, right? So in other words, there's always coming back to this reality and to this very moment, right? So all the journeys that we make, the profound journeys that we make, no matter which tradition or how deep we go and how much we think that we have evolved, and right in the end, there's only the simplicity of the very present moment. And the lowest Sephirah that is called Shekhinah, Yishkon means to dwell. It's God that dwells in this very moment. It's not the lowest one. In fact, it's the highest one. Right? Because when everything is said and done, true awakening is just being present in the moment. Not thinking out about the past, the future, anything, no concept, no bullshit, right? Just being present in the moment of life. And there's nothing to learn. Kabbalah teaches that there's nothing to learn, in the sense that in the deeper sense, right? There's nothing to learn. They're just being present, awake, with appreciation, with joy in this very moment. That's it, right? What else? What else is there? Well, we forget. We go to different places. We can use different spiritual practices and knowledge to help us get there, but right, so and on the other hand, it can also be read in despair, right? And depending what pill we took this morning, the blue one or the red one, right? Because if we want to be depressed and nihilistic, right, we can read Rabbi Elazar's comment so far as, there's like, listen, Dad, you know, the more I think I advance, I just don't. I just throw him back into reality, right? Or it can be, yay, I've been thrown back into reality. I'm living in the moment, right? So which one is it? And often in life, I think we're at this point where what is there in this moment that is missing? What's wrong? Oh, nothing wrong, except that you think that nothing's wrong, right?
Would you call that, like the Buddhists call it, a kind of grasping? Like wanting it to be more than?
I always love it when you bring Buddhist concepts, and who am I to speak for Buddhism?
I'm not a Buddhist.
Do you know? Well, we're all a bit of Buddhist now by now, right? Like we can't not be a little tiny bit Buddhist, especially if we've been around in this day and age. But yes, I think yes. So when they say grasping, as far as I understand, is you think something ought to be different because there's like a sense of lack or suffering, right? And you think, this moment there's something wrong here. It needs to be different. But why? It needs to be different because your psyche tells you so. Why? What's wrong? Right? So yeah, letting go of that a little bit. And I think Rabbi Elazar here is, well, we'll see where this goes. But at least the text presents that. It's very profound, right? And again, I think this short paragraph, when they describe the mist, they describe, it's also, what I like about this is that it's a bit, like self-humor. Like they're a little bit laughing at themselves, like, we're the Kabbalists, we are the ones who like the Sefirot, we like to climb, go up the ladder of the tree of life, rung after rung, and unite with God, blah, 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 blah. Right? It's like, there's a little bit of a self, criticism and a wink here, which I think is actually healthy. Not to take ourselves so seriously, especially when we're, studying spirituality. And we, whatever, just live, and it's fine to learn these teachings, and maybe they help us remember, but with a little bit of a smile. And we're not that important, and our search for God is not that important, and there's nothing to search, because God is here. It's like we're part of God all the time, and we're not that special, right? So yet we go on our journeys and we learn, and it's fine. It's just a little bit of humility, right? So, all right. Now it gets a little bit more complicated. Don't try to understand this just with your intellectual mind, because it'll be confusing. Trust me, there's logic to this next paragraph that looks as if there isn't. Concerning this mystery, it is written, what can I take as a witness to you? What can I compare to you? Lamentations 2:13. Anyone ever heard of the book of Lamentations? The book of Lamentations portrays what in the Bible?
Rules?
No.
Grief.
Grief.
Oh, grief, that's right.
The book of Lamentations is a book that you read on the 9th of Av, a holiday that we never celebrate because it's in August and everybody's away. But it's a fasting day where the Jews mourn the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, or the temples, because all the time they were building temples and they were destroyed, like at least twice that we know of. And but you see, metaphorically speaking, it's not just about the historical temple in Jerusalem. It's basically a day when we mourn all the destruction and the loss. And when we kind of celebrate in a sad way, it's a fasting day. We don't eat, and we read Lamentation, which is a very harsh book describing the terrible atrocities and tragedy that happened around the siege of Jerusalem, and the terrible cruelty that happened there. I don't want to talk about modern current events. I just say that it's echoes, but basically, that's Lamentations, right? We're lamenting. And in Lamentations, chapter 2, there are a series of verses that start with what? Ma idech, ma shavelach ve'anachamecha bat Yerushalayim, gadol kayam shivrech, mir palach. That's the Hebrew. What can I take as a witness to you? What can I compare to you? What can I console you with, O daughter of Jerusalem? Now that you're in your destroyed state, in your raveled, ruined state, your ruin is as vast as the ocean, as the sea. Gadol kayam shivech mir palach. Who shall heal you? Ask Lamentations. All right, it's like the total despair. Rabbi Elazar wants to bring lamentation energy into the room. Okay? Which, if you wanted to be Buddhist, will say human suffering. Okay?
Yeah.
In this cycle of going up to find meaning, going to find God, thrown time and again into this reality, isn't that the nature of the world? Isn't that the nature of the world? No matter how advanced we think we are, no matter how evolved we are, how resolved we are, how much money we have in the bank, how beautiful our family is, whatever it is that we have, we will be thrown time and again into something that this reality brings us, some challenge. I don't know, I've only been around for like half a century, almost, not even. That's my experience so far, right? There's always some dynamic thing, and then when we think we got it all, our body starts to fail us, right? So, and then we realize that we're here and soon we won't be. So, right? So there's always that cycle. And Rabbi Elazar is bringing Lamentations, miraculously verses there that have the words me and ma, what and who in them. We'll get to that, right? To kind of, yeah, you know, there's a lot of suffering involved. There's a lot of destruction. There's a lot of agony. Concerning this mystery, it is written, what can I take as a witness to you? What can I compare to you? Lamentations. When the holy temple was destroyed, a voice cried out, what can I take as a witness to you? What can I compare you to? I take what as a witness to you? Says Elazar. See what they always do the same thing. They deconstruct and reconstruct language and flip it around to create a new meaning. Just like in Esai Nile Ha'arim, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Me'ayin yavo ezri, where shall my help come from? From where? From the question. Ayin, from nothingness. My help shall come. Here too. With what can I console you with? Asks Lamentations, meaning nothing can console me. With the word what? With what? What will be a witness? I take what as a witness to you? What is what? We already know. What is what? What's that?
Now, our situation here.
Just being here in the present. I feel depressed. I think that something terrible happened to me. My life is over. I have this pain right here in my chest. I can't cope. Ever happened to you? I feel heavy. Something terrible happened. I am in ruin. My life seems to be over. How will get out of it? With what? Coming back to this very moment, next breath, okay? What did he say? Every single day, I have called witnesses against you. Since the days of old, as it is written, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, Deuteronomy. Rabbi Elazar is very versed. It says every day there is some problem. I compare you to what? Precisely. I crowned you with holy crowns, gave you dominion over the world, as it is written. Is this the city that was called perfect crown of beauty, joy of all the earth? Lamentations. I called you Jerusalem built up, a city bound together in Psalms. See what is he doing? He's bombarding us with verses. The verses are about which city? Jerusalem. In Psalms, what is the situation of the city? Yerushalayim habnuya k'ir shechubra la yachdav. In Psalms, Jerusalem is what? It's written here. It's a city bound together. Jerusalem is one. In Lamentation, Jerusalem is what? In ruins. What is Jerusalem a symbol of?
Rebirth.
What's that?
Rebirth.
Rebirth, maybe?
Us,
Resilience.
Resilience, us. Shekhinah. Shekhinah, the presence of God, is one of its strongest symbols, Jerusalem. Why? Because where does God dwell in the world? In the temple. Where is the temple?
Israel.
Israel. Where in Israel? Jerusalem, city of my birth. Okay? Jerusalem is the house of God. So basically have you ever been to Jerusalem, New York? Which is in one of the Finger Lakes. There's a Jerusalem, New York. I think Cayuga or one of those lakes. There's a Jerusalem, New York. So Jerusalem can be anywhere. Jerusalem is everywhere where God's presence dwells. Where does God's presence dwell? Everywhere. Where does it not dwell? Nowhere. Except for when we forget, which can be everywhere also, right? So for the Kabbalists, Jerusalem is not Jerusalem. It's not the physical Jerusalem. You have to get used to that spiritual language. It's a symbol. In the Kabbalistic way of thinking, Jerusalem, the city where God dwells, that's Shekhinah. Two phases here for Jerusalem. What is the psalm phase,
Built up.
build up and together with what? With God, with presence, with the Spirit. Ever had a moment when you felt that everything was together and everything was fine and you were just living happily? Ever happened to you? I'm sorry for you. It really happens a lot, quite often.
Yeah.
Ever been in a moment when you felt that no, something's wrong and terrible and things don't? Okay, has it ever happened to you that it like switched from one to the other, like in an instant because of something? That's what they're talking about.
Do you
Okay,
think that the Seder, when they say next year in Jerusalem, that it could mean this?
if you want it to be, yes. Right, Leishana, like me, who left Jerusalem and I'm freaking Rochester, New York. It doesn't get more diaspora than here. It's not even like, New York City or, it's like nowhere, no, like random place, like somewhere near like near Lake Ontario, even where am I? I'm like I'm driving here. I was just in Israel where I'm from. And then, like I go back to Rochester, like where is that? Right? But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. In the depth, it doesn't matter. Everywhere is Jerusalem. Everywhere can be just either psalm phase or like you wake up the next time you meet it. What kind of day are you having? A psalm day or a lamentations day? And everybody's gonna think, what the hell are they talking about? We're gonna have an inner language here, right? So Jerusalem psalms phase is everything's cool. Spirit runs through me. I'm good. Right? That psalm, Jerusalem, the city. See, it looks like a jabber of something like what? He's just emitting psalms like the crazy rabbi. Verses. No, there's some kind of teaching that comes from here, right? And so Jerusalem can either be either this or that in this cycle of me and ma, right? So now, what can I like you to console you? He's continuing to read from Lamentations. The same verse. Go home and just read Lamentations chapter 2. You'll see where he got this from. I called you, yeah, so now, what can I liken to you to console you? Right now that whenever we're having a lamentation day, right? How can we be uplifted from our ruin? What can I liken you to console you? Just as you sit desolate, so it is above, as it were. Just as now the holy people do not enter you in holy array, so I swear to you that I myself will not enter above until your inhabitants enter you below. So he's basically making a mirror picture. He says, if you're feeling, here's your consolation. If you're feeling depressed here on earth, know that God is also depressed up above. In other words, the sadness isn't ignored. All right, it's a mirror. The disconnect is from two sides.
That's Jewish guilt, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, how do you see that?
That's the ultimate Jewish guilt. You're making God unhappy.
Yeah, well, who made who unhappy, right?
Yeah.
But the sense of unhappiness, they're saying, is mirrored because again, God is not a grandpa in the sky, right? God is part of there's the me and the ma. There's the lower. See, so basically, the covenant is the tough situation in our daily life, in our material, daily, mundane life, is always a reflection of something deeper in the source of our soul. That's created that is connected, it's interconnected. See, that is kind of like the promise here, that it's not that the rungs are connected and are mirrored by each other, and that if we go deeper and refine that connection, it might also have an effect on the situation in our life and vice versa. It's all the rungs are related. Okay, so right, so this is your consolation. I compare this rung to you completely, but now that you are here, your ruin is vast as the ocean. This is a continuation of a quotation from Lamentation. Gadol Anybody knows a bit Hebrew here? What is gadol?
Big.
Big. Kayam, what is yam? Sea. Shivrech, your ruin. But mi gadol kayam shivrech, your shever, your ruin is as vast as the yam, as the ocean. Mi, who, yirpalach, who shall, like El Narefan Alav, yirpa, who shall heal you? Who shall heal you? Says Lamentations. Again, what's the literal sense is when Prophet Jeremiah, who allegedly wrote Lamentations, saw that the city of Jerusalem was destroyed and all its people were starved and killed and mutilated and sold to slavery and kicked into Babylonia, into exile. He says to her, what shall I compare you to? What shall I console you with? In other words, I can't. You're broken and your ruin is as vast as the sea, as the ocean, as the yam. Mir palach, nobody can heal you. You're in ruin. You're going to the diaspora. You're going to exile. That's it. You're done, said Jeremiah. Okay? But the Kabbalist is not going to let the literal meaning spoil his day. Okay? Well, even Prophet Jeremiah in the end said that, God will bring us and restore us and rehabilitate us and blah, 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 right? But not in Lamentation. Lamentation energy is complete destruction. So, right? But now that you're here, your ruin is vast as the ocean. Yet, if you say you cannot endure or be healed, then who will heal you? Who will heal you? Mir palach, mir palach. Again, turning the question into an answer. Making the question word into the answer. Deconstructing language. Look at in order to reconstruct a new meaning, in Kabbalistic teachings, oftentimes the medium is the message, and the message is the medium. In other words, the Kabbalists will reconstruct language, change the grammatical meaning of the literal sense in order to create a new layer of meaning, inviting us to do that to our very own lives. If we're caught in a story, if our mind is caught in a certain framework, if we're telling ourselves a story of misery, we feel that we are in ruin. Our life is stuck. Something terrible happened. I don't know what it is. Okay? What is the teaching here? From that place of ruin can be healing. How to make that switch is not in words. It's an internal switch that we make. There is a promise here. The reality below is connected to the reality above. In other words, God has not forsaken us, right? But our inner world, our outer world are mirrors to one another. How can we transform from ruin to healing? The word ruin, shever, in Hebrew has two meanings. What's that?
Is it 7?
7 what?
Sheva. How do you say?
Shever.
Oh.
So nothing to do with sheva,
Yeah,
but
never
it does. But the word shever, ruin, means both ruin, shever, like something breaks. Mashber is a crisis. Shever is something that is like if you break your bone, you have a shever in your knee. Shever, something is broken. Shavu, broken, brokenness, ruin. Yet the word shever also means abundance. Yeah, that's Hebrew.
Yeah.
When Joseph's brothers went to Egypt to find food, the Hebrew word has been so shever, to find abundance, to find sustenance. In Hebrew, many words have at least two meanings. So the word for crisis and being broken and the word for sustenance and abundance are the same word. So gadol kayam shivrech mir palach, and the word yam and mi are the same letters. Yam, ocean, Yud Mem. Remember Elohim, Yud Mem, Yam. Too bad I didn't have slides for this. Yud Mem and Me are the same letters. Gadol Kayam Shivrech Mir Parach. Rabbi Elazar is taking us in circular Hebrew mantras, where all the words are mirroring one another, and all the words have double meanings, and the crisis becomes the healing. Again, and the healing becomes a crisis. And you see, Kabbalah tries to, these texts are they're super texts, they're sophisticated texts. A lot is lost in translation from the Hebrew or the Aramaic to the English. Yet we can get like 90% of it, maybe not as powerful. It's a text that brings us to the verge of language and what we can discuss verbally. Because how we make that switch from being in ruin to being healed.
You know, in AA, I read that, only when you're at the very bottom can you begin to heal, which makes me think of it.
Yeah, I'm aware of that concept of AA. It's where I learned when I composed my song El Narefana La. By the way, El Narefana La I composed also influenced by this text of the healing. Refana, okay? And yes, so there's something about what they say that there's no more complete there's no more complete and whole heart than a broken heart. Right, and the light of God shines through the cracks of a shattered soul. Right, and the broken vessel are the most beautiful vessels. And that sometimes we need to sometimes out of a crisis comes something new, and God's light shines. These are the realms that they're talking about, right? Bringing us to, again, not something that we can keep explaining in words, but to a human experience that maybe some of us have experienced throughout life. Most of you, I think all of you have lived more than me, so maybe you know more, better than me what they're talking about, because you have more life experience. Think about times when where things shattered. Think about times when things were broken and lost. Think about the things that bring us most suffering, that have brought us most suffering. How did we grow from them? How did we transform? What is the trick? Right? These are, maybe we haven't, right? That's where Rabbi Elazar is in the conversation with his father. We have 5 minutes and we still don't know what Rabbi Shimon answered. We can try to read that next week.
Wait, so he's saying, so who is God? Who will heal you? Like God will heal?
Well, you see, everything is God. That's the beautiful thing about Kabbalah, is that all those runs are God. Everything is divine. It's all divine. It feels great.
Yeah.
Right? When we were in Israel, we had a long date in Tel Aviv that was all about drag. We went to see some of us saw it on Facebook. We decided to post. We never post anymore, but somehow. And then and we got like many likes, so it must have been a very successful post. Who cares? But I was not on Facebook for almost 2 years, for a year and a half, and then I got back for like a little bit. Now I'm still trying to decide if I like it or not. But it's nice to say hello to friends. So it was. So we went. Anyone ever heard of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert? It's a cult movie from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
About 3 drag queens who go in Australia in a bus, like cross Australia in a bus to whatever. So it's about drag and like LGBTQ acceptance. And 30 years ago, it was a big deal in the 90s, I remember. And then because it's 30 years, they did a Habima, which is the National Theater of Israel in Tel Aviv. They did a musical stage, like on the stage in Hebrew, except the songs are in English, because the songs are like "Go West." Then you can't translate that, but then first I was afraid, I was afraid, these are the songs, can't translate, but the whole thing, so it's like a whole full production. Couldn't find, like, we found, it was my wife's birthday, we found the last 2 seats in all of the week in one matinee. The 2 seats weren't even one next to each other. We had like 7 people say, could you please rise and move one chair? It's my wife's birthday, I want to sit next. It's like really. Then we walked down the beautiful Rothschild Boulevard in Tel Aviv to another part of town that when we lived in Tel Aviv 20 years ago was like nothing was there. It was dangerous to walk there at night. Now there's a subway station, it's booming with restaurants. I mean, we're at this really gourmet restaurant that is also like the waiters are drag, and then every half an hour they do a drag thing, and we were like not even 50 years old, and we were the oldest people there. They're like, Tel Aviv is full with young kids who can spend like $500 and a meal for 2. Really, it's like crazy. No, that wasn't $500, it was 300. Anyway, less, but still very $300. But still, you see, like they have money to spend, and they're like 30, and they sit there all night drinking, eating. Crazy energy, amazing. You should go. You should definitely go. Whether or not you're into drag, there's other restaurants. If you're not into drag, we'll take you to the other restaurant. Don't worry. Why am I saying it? Because the drag queen, it's all about being divine, right? Divas. So that was my free association. So yes, the good news is in Kabbalah everything is divine. You see, God is not outside of you, and everything that you do is God, and everything that you are is God. The only question is, are you? Well, sometimes it's less so because we block God energy, and then we make mistakes. But even then, it's God, because it's meant for growth and for change and for right. So God is who, and God is what. God is the crown, and God is Shekhinah, and everything in between. God is not outside of the system, it's within the system. Some parts of the system are transcendent and not in our daily consciousness. But in the end, just like we learned from the cycle, you can go all the way to God, and then you're back in the moment, and there's nothing more divine than that. All right, so we have to also change when we say God, what do we mean really? In Kabbalah, it's different than what we're taught to think, that God is like up there in the cathedral, where the sky, where the colorful windows are. Over there, that's God, or something like that. All right, it's not what we think. Yeah, so here we are. Oh, we still have 6 more minutes for discussion. I swear to God, before I shouldn't swear to God. I proclaim that 5 minutes ago when I started talking about the drag queen, it was also 8 or 9. Like we froze in time for I just can't see very well without my. Yes.
What are we then?
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. Well, that's what we're learning about, right? So. We'll see from Rabbi Shimon's what we are some kind of a conduit, you say, or we are conduit. We are a ladder. We are like my great grandfather, may he rest in peace with him, I never met. He was from New York City, and he said, keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Right? He was a dreamer. He bought lots of real estate in Palestine, but all the bad real estate. Like he didn't believe it. People told him, invest in Tel Aviv, buy land in Tel Aviv. He said, nah, Tel Aviv, that's not gonna be anything. He bought land in like something that's now like East Jerusalem, like places that they're like Palestinian. Like he bought all the bad lands, which is why we didn't become super wealthy. But that Tel Aviv, that thing's never gonna succeed. It's just sand there, right? Now I'm not gonna buy. Like if you had bought a land in Tel Aviv in the 1920s, we would have been. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I'd be right. So anyway, you bought land in like the weirdest places that nobody could. Anyway, so that became like I don't know Jordan in 1948, and now there's like a Palestinian refugee camp on top of it, and we can't even claim that land. Anyway, so he said that, and I guess his eyes are really on the stars, but maybe his feet weren't enough on the ground. But may he rest in peace. Anyway, you see, so we are all of the above. We are like Jacob's ladder, right? We are something that goes between those different realms. We have a body, we live in this world, yet our origin is divine. And everything that's in between. That's the amazing thing about being a human being, according to the Kabbalists. We are traveling between all these rungs, yet we're not traveling anywhere at all. Right? In the end, what have we learned? Nothing. There's nothing to learn. Don't come here. Don't come next week. It's a complete waste of time. Just go live your life and have fun. All right, but if you have fun coming here, you can come here. Right? If then you go out and say, "Oh, we'll learn something. Kabbalah is so weird," but somehow that's the magic of these texts. We're not smoking weed. We're not taking mushrooms. We're not taking psychedelics. Yet it alters our consciousness somehow. Are you noticing? If you keep coming here, after all this time, please notice that these Kabbalists, they wrote texts. It's just words. But somehow it pushes buttons in our souls. It's not for everyone. You go out to the world, say, "Oh, what just happened here? I can't even remember anything that the rabbi said." Believe me, a moment after I leave here, I don't remember a word of what I said. It's true. And I've taught this text like 20 times in my life throughout the years. I always teach it. It always comes out different, a little bit, because it's just in the moment. It's like we channel Zohar energy. See. Not even logical or rational. Yeah, to a degree it is, but yeah. Okay?
It's in your subconscious stuff, right?
Hopefully it's in all our subconscious now. Yeah.
I kept thinking too during this whole thing, like, I don't know quantum physics very well or whatever, but just the whole concept of all the states kind of exist at once. And it's when you look at it that it actually takes form. And just thinking about that whole process that you could be focusing in the present now, but all the states are existing at once. So
I love it. I think that that quantum physics is very Kabbalistic and vice versa, right? Actually, a lot of modern physics echoes with these ancient teachings very well. Yes, this idea that it's as if there's one reality and it's very solid, but just like we just reconstruct and deconstruct language here, actually it can also just change, right? Maybe not all the things can change, but at least how we see it, or how much we suffer from it. Something terrible happened to me. Really, something terrible really did happen to me. But is it really that terrible, or is there another way? Or could you see, like there's or what? Okay, but so it happened. But what's next? Right. A lot of that is in our psyche, and so
We're in two places at once, though.
Or
What they're saying in quantum physics.
Yes, or two realities, and then there's that cat that's either dead or alive. I'll never understand why, but I'm not the only one, right?
Schrodinger.
Yeah, Schlesinger or whatever it is. So, all right, so on this happy note, it is now 8:15. So God bless us all. God bless the United States of America. God bless the state of Israel. God bless the Greenland, the entire world, and even our friends in Canada. All right. So God willing, we're going to be here next week and the next week before our long summer vacation. Bring a friend. They'll be just as confused as you are, but even more so because it didn't go through this, or even less so. I don't know. So, all right. Wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I love studying Torah with you all. Thank you to our friends on Zoom as well.
That was a good thing you brought up, quantum physics.
We should learn more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should go there together. Who wants to do a congregational trip to Israel?